Alrighty, let's get started. For code editing, I've chosen one that's called Komodo Edit, and it's free. You're free to use this one or to use any other code editing tool that you feel the most comfortable with. My advice is to pick one, to try a couple of them, pick one that you like and just stick with it. In my courses, I use different code editors because sometimes I'm in the mood for one or another. And also, I just want to show you how flexible this can be. I don't want you to really get married with one particular code editor so early in your learning path. So let's get started. I have an almost empty HTML document here, which contains the head, the body, and all of the corresponding tags. And I'll show you two manners of adding JavaScript code. First thing I want to say, JavaScript code, just like HTML code, is basically text. So it's code, it's text that we're going to write whether it's in this file or in an external file. That external file is also going to be a text file, but the extension of the external files when working with JavaScript is .js. Okay, first manner of including JavaScript code is by using the script tag. The code editor I'm using has auto completion, so it's automatically closed the script tag. Inside of the script tag is where I entered my JavaScript code. We haven't really learned any JavaScript coding yet, so I'm just gonna write alert, which allows you to show a pop-up window that's gonna say hello, and I'll save this. When you open a website, it always gets loaded from top to bottom. So these things get processed first, and then when we reach the JavaScript code, all of the statements, all of the lines of code that we'll write are processed from top in a top-down manner. So I'm in my web browser here, I have this page loaded, but I need to reload it now that we've modified things, and I can do that by using this button, the reload page button, or by pressing F5 in the keyboard. So I'm going to press F5, and you'll see that now the JavaScript code gets executed, and I get an alert box that says hello. That's one way of including JavaScript code. Another equivalent way is to also use the script tag, but in this script tag we're going to specify an external file, a source attribute. The file that I'll include is going to be in the same folder as index.html, and it's going to be called script.js. It's important here to close this tag, and to close it in this way, not to, if you just close it like that, it's not going to work. It needs to be closed like this. Now, where to place the script tags when you were including files? It's recommended to do it at the very bottom, right before the closing of the body. The reason being that the page gets loaded top down, as I mentioned, and if you're including external files, it's gonna look for those files before rendering the rest of the page. So you always want the page to be rendered for the final user as fast as it can be, and then behind the scenes it keeps on loading other JavaScript files. There are cases when you're using JavaScript in your body where you need the file that declares that JavaScript loaded beforehand, but most cases you're okay with putting this at the end, and it's recommended best practice. It's a different case with style tags with CSS. Those need to always be loaded at the beginning, because once the page is rendered in the browser, it doesn't get modified by the CSS changes. So you want to have the CSS first, and then you render the page. Now let's create this script.js file, because we have that pending still. So I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to type in the same code as I typed before, which is going to be hello and semicolon at the end. And I'm going to save this in the folder where the other file is, script.js. And now if I reload the page, you'll see that it's loading that external file and it's saying hello. So just to summarize, two ways of including JavaScript. They both involve using the script tag. You can put it in an external file, or you can do it directly in your code. If you're including external files, it's always recommended to put them at the end of your body, except for particular cases, but 90% of the time you're good with putting them at the end for better performance.